Hello, everybody. True Crime Metrix here, back after a long weekend, or last weekend. Either way, we're back now. Man, that was a long stream. That was like 3 streams in one day, right? 11 hours? What are you, nuts, True Crime Metrix? Pretty good, though. Pretty good. I'm glad we went through it. I'm glad we were there all together. But we're back. We're back on our Charlie trial rewatch, part 2, Early Witnesses. The Forgotten Witnesses. Yeah, we took it up to retired Sergeant Sims back on, when was that? Thursday? Friday? Saturday? We don't know. Could be any one. But now we will be pursuing into... Who is it? Oh, I forget her first name. Maltise, the crime scene examiner who was at the scene, Trescott Drive, after the brutal assassination of Professor Markel. Picking up not picking up bullets, noticing that there were no bullets to pick up, but also noticing a pair of broken eyeglasses and several of the photos. I think she was also responsible for crime scene photography of Wendy Adelson's motor coach or minivan, which you may remember that we went through some of the evidence photos of that we obtained from the police records that none of us had ever seen before. And there were no Cheerios anywhere to be seen in the minivan, despite Wendy's repeated assertions to the cops, the FBI, well, not FBI, the Tallahassee Police Department, about, did you see the Cheerios? Did you see all the Cheerios? I'm really glad I didn't have my car cleaned, because that would have made it look like I was cleaning up a crime scene. Okay, bitch, we get it. Now, I always thought that Wendy, like a psycho, was standing in her garage over the children's booster chairs with a box of Cheerios, Honey Nut, the regular kind, chocolate chip, we don't know. Just emptying the Cheerios all over the back seat like a psycho. But no, there weren't any Cheerios, right? I mean, she's a very strange liar. Jeff Lacasse knows that she's a strange liar. You know, to the point of being unsettlingly deranged, right? I would want to back the fuck away from her. If I was in a situation like Jeff Lacasse was in a situation after the big fight in Gainesville, when Wendy started confessing about all the other men and how she wanted to, how did she put it? Sexually experiment? I think that's how she put it, or how Jeff Lacasse reported she put it. And then the next day, and she was also on the floor crying in a fetal position, sobbing like a 3-year-old. Acapella. Have you seen the movie with Ray Milland? Or is it Milan? No, Milland. It's a great movie. Where were we? Yeah, but following the big fight in Gainesville, the next day, the uncomfortable drive back, nothing like a long, multiple-hour, uncomfortable drive back with your... what are we calling her at that point? A spouse? I don't know. I really don't know. But he's like, you confessed. I heard you. You confessed. And she's like, I didn't say any of that. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Well, the same is true about the Cheerios, right? Anyway, crazy Wendy. I don't think we'll get to her today. I think she testifies on day 2. We're still on day 1, but good news. It's only a 6-day trial, I think. So, we should be through this in no time at all. Ain't no thing. Ain't no thing. Let's have a look at this cat. Okay, Mr. Sims. Sergeant Sims. How is everybody doing in chat? Mr. Pinto, our resident Devo fan. Good job, Pinto. Fantastic share on the Metrix music channel the other day. I'm looking for a play button. I think I see a play button. There it is.
Okay. No further questions.
Cross-examination.
No questions, Your Honor.
Is the sergeant released?
Yes, sir.
You may step down. Have a good day, sir. Please call your next witness.
State calls Joanne Maltise.
How's that audio, guys? About right? Up or down? Let me know.
I don't have no problems. Yeah, we're good.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
You may take your seat.
Please introduce yourself and spell your name.
Joanne Maltise, Joanne, and Maltise, Maltese.
How are you employed, ma'am?
Retired Tallahassee Police Forensics Specialist. I now have some businesses in Thomasville, Georgia.
How long were you with T?
Businesses in Thomasville, Georgia? Well, la-dee-da. What are those businesses? What does a retired forensics specialist for the Tallahassee Police Department go on to do later in life? And why was that necessary to tell us? I now have some business. Flyers are in the foyer, and I will be handing out business cards. If we could get the Law and Crime Network to put a caption with my website address and telephone number, that would be great for my new businesses.
PD.
It's TPD for 26 years.
And were you with them back in 2014?
Yes, I was.
What were your duties back in 2014?
In 2014, I was a forensic specialist, and my primary duties were the documentation, collection, and preservation of evidence at a crime scene.
I quite like the shirt. Pearl buttons. Those new businesses must be doing real well.
What training and education did you receive to do that type of duty?
At the time, I had over 1,500 hours of specific crime scene training to include photography, collection, DNA fingerprints, as well as I taught at Pat Thomas Law Enforcement Academy in crime scene, as well as teaching at the police department.
Did you respond to 2116 Trescott Drive on July 18th, 2014?
Yes, I did.
And is that the scene that's shown in the photograph 610 that's up on the screen right now?
Yes, it is. Inside the garage.
Hey, Pinto, thanks so much for those coffees. That's real nice. Real nice. What did Pinto say? What did Pinto say? Let's have a look what Pinto said. Pinto says, I think this is a sign. I am going to learn to speak German. Well, you know, it's the language of love. It's a challenge. I'm wondering what you have on there. Is it still our girls swearing fucking motherfucker fuckers? Yes. Yes, it is for now. But tomorrow I'm gonna look for a Charlie trial orientated coffee alert. But thank you so much for those coffees on buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix Pinto.
Garage.
All right, and is that residence here in Leon County?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm going to ask to introduce at this time, Your Honor, States 11 through 17.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Case 11 through 17 are admitted at this time.
All right, so did you photograph this vehicle as part of your duties?
Yes, I did.
All right, may I publish States 11?
You may.
All right, just if you'll just kind of walk us through these photos and what we're looking at in
This-
States 11.
This photo is the rear passenger area showing children's shoes and car seats.
All right, were the kids present when you were working the crime scene?
No, they were not.
Children's shoes and car seats, but no Cheerios, not a single one. And I know that there was some dispute. Someone, upon close examination in our community, said that they thought they could see the outline half donut shape of what could be a crushed up Cheerio. But, you know, I mean, it could be a lot of things. I mean, it really didn't... Wendy's description clearly indicated that there were Cheerios to be found everywhere. So, you know, even if there was one half Cheerio, donut Cheerio, you know, there just wasn't. It just was not how she described it at all. Repeatedly.
States Exhibit 12, please. What is this a photograph of?
It's a piece of broken eyeglass that was on the floor of the garage.
And how was the eyeglass broken, if you know?
The opticals or the lenses were located still inside of the vehicle. Just half of the eyeglass was outside, and there is damage to the nose piece of the eyeglass.
Potentially consistent with the bullet causing the damage to the glasses?
It would be consistent.
All right, States Exhibit 13, please. What is this show?
This is the optical or the lens of a pair of glasses located on the floorboard of the vehicle in the driver's compartment.
States Exhibit 14. What is this?
It's going to be a wallet found in the glove box of the vehicle.
Was the glove box open or shut when you arrived on scene?
It was closed.
All right, States Exhibit 15.
Wow, check that out. The wallet of a dead man. Wallets have a way of kind of summing up points in time. Think about what your wallet looked like 15 years ago. What was in it? You know? How much cash was in it? What library card was in it? You know, I mean, it's a real chronological thing, isn't it? It's a point in time. You know that time when you change your wallet? I mean, it doesn't happen very often with me. The wallet I have right now, I've had for probably 10 years. More than 10 years. That's held up pretty well. But I think it might be time for a change. But I'm kind of nervous about that. You know, that's a big step, right? But it will signify a gateway into a whole new world. And Dan Markel's wallet, to bring it back to topic, this isn't Wallet TV. Dan Markel's wallet, on the day he died, I mean, that'd be a fascinating artifact in the Markel Museum, should there ever become one, which there absolutely should.
Pair of glasses located on the floorboard of the vehicle in the driver's compartment.
States Exhibit 14. What is this?
It's going to be a wallet found in the glove box of the...
In the glove box? Who keeps their fucking wallet in the glove box? All right, he was going to the gym, so I guess that makes sense. I have never put my wallet in the glove box. What is that? Sky Miles Delta? Is that a credit card? Can we zoom in on that? American Express. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'd want a custom print on my credit card of my dog.
The vehicle
Was the glove box open or shut when you arrived on scene?
was closed.
All right. State's Exhibit 15. Did it appear that the box had been rifled through or that any items had been taken from the wallet?
No.
State's Exhibit 16. What?
Oh, bundle of cash there,
State's Exhibit
Markel.
15. Did it appear that the box had been rifled through or that any?
Well, let's see. Okay, so we got what? 1, 2, 3 Lincolns, 2 Andrew Jacksons. Or is that Hamilton? I think it's Jackson, right? And then a bunch of ones. So what? $50? Yeah. $60.
Items have been taken from the wallet.
No.
State's Exhibit 16. What does this show?
This is going to be the driver's side door window, the driver's door window.
Again, just think about that picture. I mean, look at that picture. It's nice with the kind of macro focus. Well, not quite macro, but, you know, with the shallow depth of field. Ooh, look at me with the terminology. Shallow depth of field. But fuck me, that is the hole of the bullet that went into his head. Whew, that's a somber thought, isn't it?
With a hole in the glass.
Consistent with a bullet hole.
Yes, it would be.
State's Exhibit 17. What does this show?
This is another photograph from a different angle of the same hole in the window that would be consistent with a bullet hole.
And did you collect some physical items of evidence from the photographs that we've just looked at?
Yes, I did.
Show you some of those. Let's start with State's Exhibit 115. Do you recognize 115?
Yes.
What is 115?
It's going to be the eyeglass frame that was from the passenger floorboard, the front passenger floorboard in the vehicle.
And State's Exhibit 116, what is that one?
116 is going to be the other side of the eyeglass frame that was on the garage floor.
May I publish? I'm sorry, I'd like to introduce 116 and 117.
Any objection from the defense?
No objection.
Correction for the record, Your Honor, 115 and 116.
George is in a pantsuit today with a kind of roll neck sweater. Is that what that's called? Looks, you know, just effortlessly, fantastically dressed.
I'm sorry, I'd like to introduce 116 and 117.
Any objection from the defense?
No objection.
Correction for the record, Your Honor, 115 and 116.
States 115 and 116 are admitted at this time.
Moving on to 117. Do you recognize 117?
Yes.
What is that?
It's going to be the lens or the optical located on the front driver's floorboard in the vehicle.
And what about 118?
118 is going to be a piece of the other lens or eye optical from the glasses that were on the front driver's seat.
Are those in the same or substantially the same condition as when you impounded them?
Yes.
Judge, I'd move into evidence 117 and 118.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 117 and 118 are admitted at this time.
How's that defense working out for you, Charlie? So far, he's not questioned any witnesses and hasn't objected to anything. Way to boost confidence.
Fucking
early
A,
on.
bro. I'm gonna fucking fuck up where the fuck you fucking with me.
Oh, save these coffees for Everett, the best judge around. He is the best judge around. and the biggest. Thank you so much, Amy, for the coffees on buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrics. Wonderful way to support the channel. Thanks so much, Amy, and thanks so much, Pento.
And then 119, if you could tell us what that is, please.
119 is going to be the wallet and its contents, other than the cash that I had to take out, that was located in the glove box.
All right, and that item in the same or substantially the same condition as well?
Yes.
All right, and moved into evidence states 119, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection.
119 is admitted.
May I publish?
You may.
And whose driver's license was in the wallet, States Exhibit 1?
Yeah, Lee's thinking... Well, Lee was just going to say, what is Charlie thinking? I think he's thinking... Did we get the right jury? We paid $1 million to Josh Dubin. Did he do a good job? Does this jury... We know how he describes the jury later when they didn't work out too well. What does he call that guy? That fucking inbred. That inbred guy, overweight guy that never had a girlfriend, works in the fucking FSU bookstore. You think he ever wrote a book? His words, not mine.
119.
Daniel Markel.
Hey guys, we've been doing some fantastic work the last few days. Well, you know, you think we've been slacking off? We haven't been slacking off at all. We've been busy coding for the website, the fantastic True Crime Metrics website. It's going to be such a good resource, guys. It's going to be. But I've been forcing myself to touch type, which really sucks when you're coding. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much set up, but you know, we could always use a boost in support. So I'm going to create a goal. Thanks so much, Christine Schweinsberg, for the super chat. Well done. But I am going to create a goal at the top of the chat if you would like to help support what is going to be a killer resource that everyone here is going to love on the True Crime Metrics website. Yeah, I'll create a goal for that. I'll create a goal.
Showing you States Exhibit 120. Do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do.
What is this item?
This is going to be the actual glass from the driver's door.
And how were you able to remove the glass and package it in this way?
Due to the glass being broken, I used clear tape and lined the entire inside and outside of the glass prior to taking it out so it would stay together.
Is it in the same condition as when you impounded it that day?
Yes.
Judge moving the evidence states 120.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 120 is admitted.
May I publish?
You may.
So which way does it go? And the code is up there if that helps. Oh, here's mine.
All right, this is going to be the inside that you're looking at, and
So in reference to the
So-
picture like this.
yes, it would be in that reference.
Okay, thanks so much, Laura, for the super sticker. Good to see you, Laura. I did just create a goal, guys. If we could find 20 viewers with $5, That'd be great. If you're willing and able to support the channel, to support the website, which is going to be great for everybody, you can. It's there, but you don't have to. There's no pressure. But we really do appreciate all you guys' support. Thanks so much.
Next, I'm showing you States Exhibit 121. Do you know what this item is?
Yes.
What is that item?
This item is a fragment of glass that was taken off of Mr. Markel's face at the hospital.
Did you respond to that?
Ah, this is a fragment of glass that we pulled out of his eye socket. Great.
Hospital?
Yes, I did.
What were your duties at the hospital?
I arrived at the hospital to document the condition, collect clothing, swabs, and any evidence from Mr. Markel.
All right, and as part of that, did you photograph Mr. Markel in the hospital?
Yes, I did.
All right, moving to evidence, States 22, 23, and 24, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 22, 23, and 24 are admitted.
Wait. One moment, please, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor, at this time I'd ask to publish States 22.
You may.
Can you rotate it, please, so that he's...
A cappella. It's all fingers. But yeah, the importance is that they go onto the correct keys. That way you can type super quick without looking at the keyboard, which I never learned to do. I'm pretty quick, but I gotta look, like some of the time, you know. But now it's all changed. But it's the kind of practicing that is making me have migraines and go blind. Well, it feels like I'm going blind. It really does fuck with your head. I may develop a stutter if this goes on, but hopefully, you know, muscle memory will kick in and take over, and then we'll be as good as new, baby.
Other way. This was the condition Mr. Markel was in at the hospital?
Yes.
How long after you arrived at the scene, the crime scene, were these photos taken at the hospital, if you know?
The crime scene, I arrived at around 11:30 in the morning, and then these photos would have been taken around 12:30, so an hour later.
Okay. And Mr. Markel was still alive at that time?
Yes.
Right. Please publish States 23. Why did you take this photo?
This photo, I'm documenting a dark area on his forearm, which is consistent with stippling.
And are you referring to this area here in the photo?
Yes.
And what is stippling?
Stippling is when you're in close contact or close area of a gunshot blast or a gun going off, and the gunpowder that is exiting from the gun comes out at a high speed, and it will stain or tattoo your skin.
All right, so the indication is potentially a close proximity of the muzzle of the firearm at the time of firing.
Yes.
All right. Publishing States Exhibit 24. Is this a close-up of that stippling that you described?
Yes.
All right. And once Mr. Markel was pronounced deceased, did you go to the autopsy?
No, I didn't.
Thank you so much, Cat H, for the super chat. first contribution to our goal at the top of the chat. Thank you, Cat H.
I have a couple other photos to show you in reference to your work on this case. This is 18 through 21. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes, I do.
And what are these photos of?
These photos were taken at the Tallahassee Police Department. I was requested to document a vehicle there.
All right. What type of vehicle was that?
It was a 2007 Honda Odyssey van.
All right. And was that Wendy Adelson's vehicle?
Yes, it was.
All right. Move to introduce 18 through 21, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 18 through 21 are admitted.
May I publish?
You may.
All right. Publish 18,
Hey, golfer girl.
please. All right. This is just the exterior of the vehicle.
Yes.
Okay. 19, please. All right. Next photo. 20. Was this
No evidence. They didn't deliberate. They had nothing.
receipt from a purchase that was made the day of the homicide?
Yes.
Okay, you just photographed that there inside the vehicle.
Yes, I did. Front passenger seat.
All right, and next photo, 21. Is that a close-up of the receipt?
Yes, it is.
And where was the purchase made?
The purchase was made at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits.
On what date and time?
Fine wine and spirits. That's not what I hear about ABC liquor. Yes, I'd like a bottle of your finest Barolo.
Time was the purchase made?
7/18 of 2014 at 12:49 p.m.
Okay. No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Very briefly. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
When you arrived on the scene, it was taped off, correct?
Yes, it was.
And the tape was approximately 5 or 6 properties to either side?
Correct.
So either side of the residence, right?
Yes.
Now, going back to Exhibit 20, can I put Exhibit 20 on the screen? Show me what button.
Teresa Dorsey asks, TCM, is your goal running through the end of this month? I think yes. I think, yeah, that makes sense. We'll keep the same goal. I mean, this is our next development target, so that makes sense. We'll just run the same goal until the end of the month, I guess.
This is a picture that you took,
Yes.
and it's a picture of Bullet whiskey.
All right. I want you to all listen to the depth of Daniel Rashbaum's cross, and I do find it interesting, and it is certainly relevant. The very first time he stood up is here, looking at a photo of Wendy Adelson's car seat with her purchase, suspicious purchase, certainly a purchase that raises an eyebrow. So you bought a bottle of Bullet bourbon at the exact time that your ex-husband was shot in the head. That's what he's questioning here, right? And one of the things that I want to, specifically note as we move through this trial is, who is it that Daniel Rashbaum is defending? Because it seems to me, at least from memory, that a lot of it was defending Wendy by proxy, right? Using the Charlie trial to further push back on the state's theory of Wendy being a unindicted co-conspirator, or their theory of her being a co-conspirator. It happens throughout with regularity and on balance, perhaps more so than his equatable defenses of Charlie. Never let a crisis go to waste, right? If Charlie is considered a lost cause, and I really do believe that Daniel Rashbaum was aware of that. I mean, anything can happen, right? You hope for the best, but probability-wise, the chances of his guilty verdict and subsequent conviction were extremely high, right? A stack of evidence against him. So why not take the opportunity to get in there and bolster a defense in the court of public opinion, at least, or try a defense of Wendy, right? It's interesting because if there are defenses by proxy going on, as far as I remember, there are much more of them defending Wendy than, say, Donna in this trial. And it certainly happens. How much, how often, we'll learn more about that as we move through the entire case. Subscribe to the channel.
Is that right?
Bullet rye whiskey, yes.
Is there a reason why you took this picture?
I was requested to take a photo of it.
Who requested you to take it?
Investigators that were there with me. And I would have also photographed everything in the vehicle.
And this came out of Wendy Adelson's car?
Yes.
Are you aware that Wendy Adelson was invited to a party where she was asked to bring bullet
No.
whiskey?
No, I was not.
You didn't try to do investigation into that?
I do crime scene. I'm not an investigator.
That information, that invitation was not allowed into evidence, right? But he's getting it in. Were you aware that Wendy Adelson was invited to a party where she was asked to bring a bottle of bullet bourbon? It wasn't her choice, so on and so on and so on, you know? What has this got to do with defending Charlie? Not much. Not much.
Now, going to Exhibit 21. Can you put me away?
Sorry.
This is so far away. This is okay. Going to 21. Can you tell when the purchase occurred at ABC?
When it occurred?
Yeah, what time?
According to the receipt, it's 12:49 and 13 seconds.
Okay, and you see that right under the words regular sale?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Did we get an account
It's
number on there?
12.
Shit.
The purchase occurred at ABC?
When it occurred?
Okay, the account number is the Visa. It ends in 8650. That would be Wendy's card, right? Not the... That's the Visa. That's not the account number of the store. That's Wendy's card, 8650. 8650. Wendy's last four digits of a Visa. Wendy's Visa, 4 digits. Consistent with the credit card that is on a very low resolution photograph in the beach picture with Wendy, Katie McBanower, and Yindra Velasquez Mascaro on Father's Day 2014. Yes. 8650. Do we have a picture of that? Do I have one to hand? I don't know. Let's see if we can find one quickly on the Googles. Hello, Googles. Wendy Adelson beach picture. Fuck, that's really low resolution. That's a little better. Save image. Beach. Oh, remember that guy? What was his name? I forget his name. That's the guy, if anyone missed it, this is the guy who was a Coca-Cola scholar and coach for the Cleveland Browns that Jeff reported as one of the names that he was suspicious that Wendy was doinking when she went away to one of her conferences or business receptions, whatever it was. Mr. Cool. Did he buy his belt and watch strap in the same place, or? But that's not what we're looking at today. Today we are looking at this. What's the number? 8650. Teddy pics. All right. That is not really possible to see there. But I believe I have seen a higher resolution, and you still can't quite make out the numbers. But, 8 is quite a distinctive number on the raised characters of a credit card, because it fills up all the space, right? It's difficult to confuse an 8 with, say, a 1 or a 7. And, 8650, they're all quite, even at low resolution, you can get a pretty good idea that it scans, that we don't see something that conflicts with those numbers. Certainly not.
Card?
Yeah, what time?
According to the receipt, it's 12:49 and 13 seconds.
Okay, and you see that right under the words regular sale?
Yes.
All right, so that's what, an hour, and it was pretty much bang on 11 o'clock, right, that the shooting happened. So say an hour and 45 after the shooting, that's when the purchase was made. Bear in mind that she'd already been down Trescott at that point, then continued on Centerville Road to ABC Liquor.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Can you read your right examination?
No, Your Honor.
Is the witness released?
Yes.
Have a good day. At this point, we are going to take our lunch break. Members of the jury, you've heard this instruction from me several times. I'm going to add yet another log to the fire. Do not discuss this case with each other or anyone else, or look at any of the news reports or find any information concerning this matter. If you choose to have your lunch together, you certainly may. Again, the only prohibition is you're not to discuss the case itself. You will need to return by 1:15, and at that point, we will resume with the trial as quickly as possible. Enjoy your break. Everyone can be seated. The parties will need to be back by 1:10. From there, we'll just be waiting on the jurors to be settled and come back out, and we'll resume with the testimony.
Judge, I'm advised there will be an objection to the photos with the next exhibit. Would you like to take that up now or when we get back at 1:10?
Let's go ahead and deal with it now.
Next witness is the medical examiner, and the state intends to publish state's exhibits 25 through 34. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
And that's going to be the medical forensic examiner, autopsy practitioner with the really long frizzy beard. I mean, I hope that thing unhooks when he goes into the autopsy examination. You know, just unhook it and, you know, hang it up somewhere, please. I mean, look at the way she moves. She just glides across the room. She moves like a gentle summer breeze. It's almost like she's on wheels. Or a cork bobbing on a mountain stream. Hey, thanks so much, Matthew K, for the fabulous super chat. Roushi, the perfect lawyer for chuckle little troll selling dreams. Chucky, hang on, let me just read this again. The perfect lawyer for chucky little troll selling dreams to wannabe gangster Metrix. The only real channel to fight the vomitous Adelsons. Well, we do what we can. You know, you ain't seen nothing yet. We're coming, baby. Thank you, Matthew K. Are they going to handle this objection now? Or?
Judge, they're cumulative and prejudicial. We're not disputing them.
They're cumulative. What do you mean? That there's more than one? You know? We're not disputing that Professor Markel is dead. The jury doesn't need to see what my client did to an innocent man, okay? You're allowed one autopsy photo. That's it.
Murder. They've already put in one picture. We don't see the need to put in, I think it's 10 or 12 more.
You're conceding element 1 of the murder charge?
We're conceding that Professor Markel was murdered.
Whoa. Steady on, Rashbaum. Think through your objection. Judge Everett's like, you're conceding element 1 murder charge? Yeah, he did it. He did it. We're conceding that. He just didn't what is it? Solicit, and he didn't conspire. Careful, Rashbaum, for fuck's sake.
And that he died.
State response.
With all due respect, Your Honor, the state still has the obligation to prove each element and has the right to do so through the use of these photographs and the testimony of Dr. Clark.
They've already proved it.
Mr. Rauschbaum, we're not going tit for tat. Is there anything else that you need to raise that has not been already?
No, Your Honor.
Well, as to the evidence being cumulative, I'm going to overrule. As to that objection, I will permit the state to admit these items with a proper foundation through the doctor. The doctor will be permitted to testify as to the manner and method of the homicide and document his findings. We'll be in recess until 1:10. Enjoy your break.
Are we allowed to?
Oh, we got a whole break now? Okay. When we're skipping.
Anything that needs to be addressed?
Nothing from the state.
Anything that needs to be addressed. Yeah. What happened to my turkey sandwich, Judge Everett? It was in the court break room fridge with a sticker on it that clearly said Metrix. And it's gone. Do you know anything about that, Judge Everett?
Do I?
Mr. Rauschbaum?
Nothing.
All right.
I love him too, Neville, but one thing that will always be missing until I can experience it, and that thing is, I want to see him dance, right? To something fucking groovy. And I just know that he can move so good on the floor, you know? I have every confidence.
Go ahead.
I talked to her. I think she's gonna. Okay, I'm gonna give her. I can say that. I'm okay. If she goes over, then I'm gonna. The evidentiary grounds is he wasn't there. If she goes overboard. What's that?
Okay. Here we go.
Everyone can be seated. Members of the jury, we will continue with the state's case at this time. State, you may call your next witness.
State calls Dr. Clark.
Yeah, a cappella. Run DMC. Uh-oh. Listen, man, if your beard is bigger than your entire head, don't work in an autopsy room. Please.
Clark, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, it is.
You may take your seat.
Judge, before I get started with this witness, the clerk advised me that State's Exhibit 121, the glass removed from Mr. Markel's face, was identified but not admitted, so I'll move 121 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
No objection.
State's 121 is admitted.
And I'd also like to ask Your Honor to read the stipulation regarding the swabs that Ms. Maltise collected from the crime scene.
Members of the jury, when parties agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact. You must accept stipulated facts as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide. In this case, the stipulated facts that you must accept as true are the following. Miss Carrie Rosanna, a crime laboratory analyst in the biology section at the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, conducted DNA testing in this case and reported the following results. The swabs collected from the crime scene by Joanne Maltise were tested for the presence of DNA. Ms. Rosanna analyzed the swabs and opined that due to the limited nature of the DNA results obtained from the swabs, the data was not interpretable, meaning there was not enough information present to make an identification.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I proceed?
You may.
Sir, please introduce yourself and spell your name.
I'm Dr. Anthony J. Clark, A-N-T-H-O-N-Y, J. Clark, C-L-A-R-K.
How are you employed?
I'm currently employed as Associate Medical Examiner with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Division of Forensic Science, in the Central Medical Examiner's Office in Macon, Georgia.
What about back in 2014?
I was employed as an Associate Medical Examiner with District 2 Medical Examiner's Office here in Tallahassee, and an employee of KWB Pathology Associates.
How long were you employed here as a medical examiner?
About 16 years.
All right. Could you briefly go through your education and training that qualifies you to do your job?
I obtained my Bachelor of Science degree from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I then did 2 years of animal research at MIT, then was accepted to the Jefferson Medical College in Philadelphia. I graduated from the college and went to New Britain General Hospital in New Britain, Connecticut, and did a 2-year general surgical residency internship. I then went to the Hartford Hospital in Hartford, Connecticut, and did 4 years of anatomic and clinical pathology. I graduated from that program and traveled down to Atlanta, Georgia, where I did a 2-year forensic pathology fellowship at the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office in Atlanta, Georgia, in association with Emory University. I finally got my first job as the Southwest Regional Medical Examiner for the GBI DOFS in Moultrie, Georgia. And then I traveled to Tallahassee, where I was District 2, and then back to Georgia now. I am board certified in anatomic and forensic pathology. I have medical licensures both in Georgia and in Florida.
All right. And what are the duties of an assistant medical examiner?
As an associate medical examiner, I am involved in death investigation. I'm the individual that examines the dead person and determines the cause and manner of death.
How many autopsies have you conducted throughout your career?
It's well over 7,500.
Have you testified as an expert in a court of law before today?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
Several hundred times.
Tender the expert judge in the area of forensic pathology.
Does the defense wish to deny the witness any further?
No, Your Honor.
Any challenge to his qualifications to render an opinion?
No, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, the witness will be permitted to provide you with an opinion in the field of forensic pathology. You may continue.
Dr. Clark, did you conduct the autopsy of Dan Markel?
Yes, I did.
When was that autopsy conducted?
We performed the autopsy on July 19, 2014, and we started at 11:55 hours.
Where was the autopsy conducted?
This was performed at the Tallahassee morgue at that time.
All right. And did you take photographs to assist you in documenting the autopsy process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to show you what I've marked as States Exhibits 25 through 34. Ask if you recognize those exhibits.
Big States Exhibits 26. This one. 25 and 26 are photographs of the X-rays we took prior to performing the autopsy, and the rest of these are the photos from the autopsy itself.
Are they fair and accurate photos of the autopsy?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Would they assist the jury in understanding your testimony today?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I've asked to move into evidence States 25 through 34.
25 through 34 are admitted over the defense's objection.
Permission to publish?
You may.
All right, let's start with 25, please. All right, doctor, what are we looking at in States Exhibit 25?
This is an X-ray of the decedent's head, and what we want to see here is that these really dense white areas here and here, these are the bullets that I recovered from the head at the autopsy.
Okay, so one in the center of the forehead there and one on this kind of the side of the face.
Center forehead and here on the left side of the face.
All right, and States Exhibit 26, please.
As part of the X-ray series, we like to look at what we call laterals, not just also to see where they are in the skull. And you can see that even though it looks like it's in the center of the head, it's towards the back of the head here, and then this one is near the left side of the jaw here.
27, please. How many times was Professor Markel shot?
Twice.
Both in the head?
That's correct.
Where were the entrance wounds?
Okay, this is actually the identification photograph to show who this decedent is, but you can see the trauma here. You have a gunshot wound right here, just inside this left eyebrow here, and then you have another gunshot wound here on the outside left cheek.
States Exhibit 28, please. What does this photo show?
This is the gunshot wound number 1 I described in the autopsy report. This is the entry wound here, and you can see around it are all these irregular abrasions. These abrasions are from shattering glass, causing these that's exploded onto his face and causing these little bits of scraping all the way down here on his ear and on his neck here. Also, you can see the massive amount of swelling and soft tissue injury in this area. The bullet actually winds up just about where the pointer is right now, just below this earlobe on the just above the corner of the left side of the lower jaw here. You can see that there's been some hemorrhage around the eyelid, the eye here, and then you see gunshot wound number 2 here, just inside the left eyebrow.
Does calling them gunshot wounds 1 and 2, does that correspond with your opinion as to the order of the shots?
No, ma'am. That just tells you that way for me easily to describe what they are. Actually, I think I did it backwards. This is 1 and this is 2. Sorry.
Okay. Do you have an opinion as to the order of the shots?
Yes, ma'am, I do now, after I found out about the scene investigation and what was going on, that this was most likely the first gunshot wound because of the glass causing injuries around the wound itself. And then the second one actually has some characteristics of what we call gunpowder stippling, where the muzzle of the gun, out of the muzzle of the gun comes burning and unburnt gunpowder particles, and they strike the skin, also causing scrapings. But those scrapings are more homogeneously the same size, so it looks more like a gunpowder injury.
All right, so the first in time, in your opinion, is the one to the cheek?
Yes,
The lower one?
this would
Okay.
be number one in time sequence, and then this would be the second one.
Okay. And can you tell the jury anything about the range, meaning how far away the muzzle of the firearm would have been from Mr. Markel when these shots were fired?
This one here on the cheek, I cannot tell because there's what's called an intermediate target, something in between that's blocking any of the gunpowder characteristics on the skin. On the top one here, to the just inside the left eyebrow, again, you're talking within inches.
All right, so very close muzzle.
Yes.
All right, and when you're talking about the intermediate target in reference to the gunshot wound that happened first, would that be consistent with the bits of glass hitting his face
That's correct.
and causing those abrasions around the entrance wound?
That's correct.
Would the gunshot wound that happened first in time have caused his death immediately?
More than likely not. It may have stunned him, or most likely stunned him because of the impact to the face, but most of the damage is to the face, and I don't think there was much damage to the brain at that point in time.
And what about the one that happened second in time?
Now, the second one actually went through the right side of the brain, and that would have rendered him unconscious almost immediately, but there was a survival time after that.
Meaning he didn't die right away.
That's correct. His heart and lungs kept working.
All right. Were the injuries survivable, meaning if he had gotten medical attention sooner, if something had been done differently, he could have survived?
Well, he got medical attention, but it did not help him. So, yes, they were a non-survivable injury to the right, with a gunshot wound to the head.
State's Exhibit 29, please. What does this exhibit show? I think we need to, can we turn it so that it's like this? Yep. No. Yes. What are we looking at in this image, Doctor?
Okay, again, what I was looking at was this coarse abrasions or scrapings of the skin on the ear, and there's some scattering on the neck here. Most of it's on the face up here. And again, that's what I called pseudo-stippling in the autopsy report. Also, you can see that the side of this neck is kind of discolored and it's very swollen here. There's been a lot of hemorrhage into the soft tissues from the gunshot wound that has traveled from here down to here.
All right, States 30, please. What are we looking at in this image, Doctor?
Now we're looking at gunshot wound labeled as number 1. This is the entry here. And you see these fine specks up here. Those are small abrasions or scrapings of the skin consistent with gunpowder stippling. So there was no intermediate target at that point in time. So the gunpowder from the discharge from the muzzle of the gun struck the skin and left these marks.
Can you tell them anything about what type of firearm it would have been or could have been based on?
Not from the stipple pattern or the gunshot wound injuries themselves. The bullets were more consistent with being fired from a revolver.
And what's the difference between a revolver and other types of weapons?
Well, the revolver usually can use just lead slugs, and they're usually not copper jacketed or metal jacketed.
Okay. And is the revolver the one that has the cylinder like a cowboy gun that spins around?
Yes, ma'am.
Does not eject casing when it's fired?
That's correct.
Okay. Next photo, please. Doctor, what are we looking at in States 31?
Okay, this is depicting the gunshot wound to the outside of the left cheek here. You can see the coarse stippling going all the way to the nose, to around here, the injury around the left eye from hemorrhage from these 2 gunshot wounds. And then you see the other gunshot wound to the what we call glabella, or just inside the left eyebrow.
So what we're seeing as the discoloration or what appears to be black eyes, is that secondary to the gunshot wounds or consistent with some other injury?
No, that's consistent with the gunshot wounds.
Next photo, please. This is 32. If we turn it, it's like this. What does States 32 show?
This is a close-up of his left forearm. His wrist is over here, his elbow is here. And what you're seeing here is a crescent-shaped deposit of soot. Okay? Now, soot not only in a revolver not only comes out of the muzzle, but it also comes out what's called a cylinder gap. If you think about a cowboy gun or a 38 special or something like that, that cylinder there's a little gap between that and the actual muzzle, so that you can have soot coming out, even have other particles coming out. These are a little bit finer than I thought initially, but I called it pseudo-stippling. There are some irregularities here, but I think that this is probably soot deposition from the discharge from the cylinder gap, and that would imply that his arm was somewhere near that when that shot took place.
All right, so potentially consistent with him perceiving the threat and putting his arm up and to try to defend himself.
Correct.
States Exhibit 33, please. What is States 33?
States 33 is the bullet that we recovered from the left jaw area. If you can see, if you remember what the x-ray looked like, it looked like a barrel, and that's what we have here.
And States 34?
And that is the deformed bullet that we pulled out of the back of the right side of the brain.
I'm going to approach with States 122 and 123. Do you recognize these exhibits?
Yes. States 123 is the packaging that I used to put the bullet in. The bullet is currently out, and this is from the brain. And in States Exhibit 122 is the packaging and the bullet that I pulled out for the gunshot wound to the left cheek area.
And are these in the same or substantially the same condition as when you recovered them from the body?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I'd ask to introduce at this time States 122 and 123.
Any objection?
No objection.
122 and 123 are admitted.
May I publish?
You may.
These are the same items that we just saw in those last two photographs.
Yes, ma'am.
Doctor, what was the cause of death in this case?
I put the cause of death as gunshot wounds to the face and head.
And what about the manner of death?
This was considered a homicide.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Cross examine.
No questions, Your Honor.
Doctor, you may step down. Will he be recalled at any point?
No, sir.
You may call your next witness.
Judge, do you have a stipulation at this time? I would ask Your Honor to read the stipulation in reference to the firearms.
Oh. Okay, I think we got Pat Sanford coming in now. Coming in hot.
Members of the jury, when the parties agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact. You must accept stipulated facts as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide. In this case, the stipulated fact that you must accept as true is the projectiles contained in States Exhibits 122 and 123 were examined microscopically by a firearms expert from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and are determined to have been fired from the same revolver. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may take your seat.
Please say your name and spell your name.
So, thinking about Donna's trial, Pat Sanford, along with Chris Corbett and Rob Adelson, are the three witnesses that the defense wishes to redepose, and that they are partially permitted to do so, but only on the new investigation. But I think they wanted to redepose on everything, right? On what they have previously been deposed on by conflicting counsel Dan Rashbaum, obviously based on his testimony here today, right?
Patrick Sanford, Sanford.
How are you employed?
I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
How long have you been with the FBI?
The Federal Bureau of Investigation, yeah, I think I've heard of those guys. Pat Sanford, I'm with the Bureau. Special Agent Pat Sanford, I'm with FBI.
Approximately a little over 24 years, 22 of which I was here.
How many times do you think he practices that in the mirror, holding up the badge? Pat Sanford, FBI. Special Agent Pat Sanford, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Pat Sanford, FBI.
Here in Tallahassee.
What are your duties there?
I'm a special agent. I investigate cases and
yeah, you said that. You said that.
Protect national security.
And were you assigned to investigate a murder case involving the murder of Dan Markel?
Yes, I was.
Were you the lead investigator on that case?
Correct.
Did you assist the Tallahassee Police Department in that case?
Yes, I did.
Why was the FBI included in that particular investigation?
At the beginning, they had several leads, like interviews, things that they need to track down that were outside of the city of Tallahassee. That we have agents, all over the country, so we're able to facilitate some of those leads and track down certain aspects of the case.
And were some of those leads in the Miami area?
Yes, they were.
And were you assisted by Miami authorities as well in the investigation?
Correct.
As part of the investigation, were the people that were considered to be closest to the victim interviewed?
Yes, they were.
And would that include the ex-wife, Wendy Adelson?
Yes.
What did you learn in the investigation about the relationship between the victim and his ex-wife, Wendy Adelson?
They had gone to through a very contentious divorce, which even after the divorce was finalized, they still had several issues that they dealt with through the court system.
I'm going to approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 56. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
You had an opportunity to look at that exhibit before?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate copy of Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce file?
That's correct.
From the clerk's office here in Leon County?
Correct.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to move into evidence State's Exhibit 56.
An objection to State's 56.
Just our previous objection.
Very well. State's 56 is admitted at this time over defense objection.
Did you review this divorce file as part of your investigation in this case?
Yes, I did.
About how many pages are in that?
Around 576, I believe.
Okay. And I want to draw your attention to a couple things specifically, like on page 82, paragraph 13. They were arguing over everything, right? All the belongings.
Correct.
Down to a tennis racket.
That's correct.
Okay. As part of these proceedings, did Wendy Adelson seek to relocate with her children from Tallahassee to Miami, Florida?
Yes, she did.
Right. And why did she want to relocate to South Florida, according to the filings?
The filing stated that she had a job offer in South Florida that was more lucrative than her current job.
All right. And did Mr. Markel object to her petition to relocate?
Quite a bit more lucrative, right? What was his name? It doesn't really matter. What was his name? Gary. Gary said it was $1 million a year. A law firm suing drug companies. Man, nothing speaks philanthropist like a law firm suing drugs companies. Doesn't that just have opportunist written all over it? Pharmaceuticals make billions. You know, it's one of the biggest industries in the world, right? And sometimes they fuck up, and then lawyers are waiting with pitchforks. Yeah, but we're defending the little guy. Yeah, really. What would Erin Brockovich have to say about that?
Locate with the children?
He did.
Right. Did he file quite a lengthy and emphatic objection to that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And in his motion, and that's going to be on page 82, why did he indicate he believed was the sole reason that Miss Adelson wanted to move to South Florida?
He says that he stated that the sole reason was because she could relocate with the party's minor children to be near her parents.
And was the relocation petition that Wendy filed, was that ruled on?
Yes, it was.
All right. So what did the court say about that?
Why doesn't she just be fucking honest? You know, it's only to be near the parents so that they can raise her children that she didn't want. She's not interested in the job. She's not interested in being near her parents other than the free babysitting. You know, Wendy is interested in the restaurants and the events and, you know, the swimming pools and the views across the water from exclusive balconies.
The court ruled against that and ruled against her, saying she had to stay in Tallahassee with the children.
And if I said that was June 20th of 2013, does that sound right?
That's correct.
What do you think Judge Hobbs would have made of the divorce filing, the petition that she made for relocation? Judge Hobbs, listen. I petitioned the court to relocate to South Florida, specifically Miami, because I've been in Tallahassee for 7 fucking years and I still cannot get a decent piece of sushi around here. Please grant my petition.
Okay. When was the divorce made final? And for that, I'll direct you to page 457 and 458.
I believe it was made final in July 31st of 2000.
I am sick to death of eating fucking grits for breakfast, okay, Judge Hobbs? If I ever see a grit again, it's going to be too soon.
2013, I believe.
All right. And did that conclude the issues between, the legal issues between Miss Adelson and Professor Markel?
No, it did not.
All right. So they continued to file quite a lot of filings after that. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. In fact, there's over 250 more pages of stuff after the divorce was final. Does that sound
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to March 26th of 2014. Did Mr. Markel file a motion seeking some relief related to the grandmother, Donna Adelson?
Yes, he did.
And what specifically was he seeking in reference to Donna Adelson?
He was seeking to limit her visitation rights to where they had to be monitored,
Supervised by another adult.
That's correct.
And why in the pleading did Mr. Markel indicate that this supervision was needed?
I'm sorry, could you refresh the page number?
Look at 450. 450.
Mr. Markel stated that that the children informed him that Grandma says you're stupid, and that she says you're trying to take your sunshines away.
That Grandma, meaning Donna Adelson,
That's correct.
was saying that telling the kids that Dan Markel was stupid?
That's correct.
Did you also come into possession of some emails that were exchanged between Wendy Adelson and Donna Adelson?
We did.
All right, I'm going to show you what I've marked as States Exhibit 57. Have you had an opportunity to review those emails
Yes, I have.
prior to today, which we can't find? Have you had a chance to review those before today?
I have.
Okay. Anything in those emails that goes to motive in your investigation?
Yes, there is.
And what is that?
Okay, so this came up in our discussion the other day about what was Wendy's value to any trial. And the only thing that came up that I found to be significant was these emails and having Wendy verify that they exist and were sent from her mother. But I don't know. I mean, you know, they're being mentioned here. Wendy hasn't testified yet. So there's room for them to at least be brought up as part of the investigation. So the only difference to Wendy speaking of them is that she admits that they are real. I don't think the jury would have doubted that. Why would they doubt that? Hey, look, we got her laptop and we found these emails. You're going to sell to a jury that police confiscated the laptop and planted fake emails from the mother with all of the surrounding context and features that was information known personally to the sender and recipient? That's a stretch. That's a real fucking stretch. Most people trust the police. It's always a hard sell, even when it's true that the cops planted evidence. It's a hard sell to a jury unless you've got a cop on film taking a bribe, hot micing, doing something shady. How often does that happen? Hardly ever. So to convince a jury that they planted evidence when the investigation's on the up and up, close to impossible, I'd say.
She was being very assertive. Mrs. Adelson, Mrs. Donna Adelson, was being very assertive with Wendy Adelson, trying to influence her to do different things to Mr. Markel to get him to agree to let her and the children to move to South Florida.
And what was the thing that was expressly stated in these emails as the most important part of Wendy's whole divorce and litigation?
It was relocation to South Florida to be close to the family.
All right. And was there mention in those emails of a bribe that was to be offered to Dan Markel to potentially facilitate this relocation?
There was.
And who was going to pay for the bribe?
There was going to be a three-way payment between Donna and Harvey Adelson. We're going to pay 33% of it. Charlie Adelson would pay 33%, and then Wendy would pay the other 33%.
All right. And what was the total amount of this potential bribe?
$1 million.
All right. Was there any financial benefit to Wendy Adelson that occurred as a result of Dan Markel's death?
There was.
What were those that benefit or benefits?
There was at least, I believe, a couple of life insurance policies, one of which was around $2 million. There was Social Security benefits to the kids that were provided, I believe, like $4,800 a month. There was a 401k that he left behind, and some other accounts.
Pension as well?
Yes, there was a pension.
Okay. And some deferred comp, $217,000 there?
That's correct.
Okay. And you mentioned the 401k. Do you recall how much money was in that?
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay. Is there something that could refresh your memory on that?
Possibly.
Does $100,000 sound right?
Yes, it does.
All right. As part of the investigation in this case, you looked at sort of the people closest to Dan. Did you also investigate the day of the homicide and his routine or activities that day?
We did.
And what did you learn about his schedule that day?
That morning, he had custody of the kids that day, of his two children, his two boys. He took them to daycare over off of West Tharp Street, dropped them off around 8:50 a.m., and then drove back across town and went to Premier Gym right off of McClay Boulevard, Thomasville Road, Capitol Circle area.
Was there any surveillance images captured outside the gym that showed the vehicles coming and going from there?
Yes, there was some exterior cameras on the gym itself, on the roof of the gym.
And did that surveillance, were you able to identify from that surveillance which video,
Yeah. The professional killers, hitmen, drove their car into a super obvious CCTV surveillance hotspot, the Premier Gym, and sat there for an hour. One of them, the tall one, got out and went and urinated in a bush. Oh, God. You couldn't just wait outside the fucking gym on the road, where there might not be a surveillance camera? And just the way that Prius was moving around the parking lot after the Dan's Honda Accord, it just felt like we were watching this nature show of an animal being stalked, right? Like the lion moving in the long blades of grass in the of the savannah.
which video? Which vehicle was Dan Markel's vehicle arriving at the gym?
Yes, we were.
Okay, and was there another vehicle that appeared to be a suspect vehicle captured in this video?
That's correct.
And why did you describe, or why am I describing this other vehicle as a suspect vehicle?
We did obtain multiple pieces of footage, of video.
Absolutely, offering a nice list of the Blunder brothers.
Video footage around town also showing that it appeared a light green Prius was following Mr. Markel wherever he went that morning.
And was that description of a vehicle consistent with the description that Mr. Geiger gave us of the vehicle that he saw leaving the crime scene?
That's correct.
All right. Was there a compilation of relevant clips or parts of this video surveillance collected from Premier Gym to show the jury just sort of the relevant portions?
There was.
All right. And you've had an opportunity to review that?
I have.
Okay, and those images are fair and accurate clips or portions of the Premier Gym surveillance video?
That's correct.
Judge, I'd ask to introduce into evidence that Premier video surveillance footage at this time, which I believe is 83. We checked that.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 83 is admitted.
States 83, Your Honor. And that's going to be in the form of, what did it say by 83? It's in the form of a disc, Your Honor, but I'd ask for permission to publish by way of the laptop. All right, if you'll kind of walk us through what we're looking at here, and we may need to pause when he starts talking.
This is from the roof of the Premier Gym. This is off of the north side.
What the hell kind of security camera placement is that, by the way? Yeah. What is this, bird watch? We got a fucking great view of the trees and the fucking roof. We can see 4 cars. Who puts a camera there?
Facing toward the Fresh Market, that area. If you're familiar with that area, Fresh Market's off to the right. There's an entrance to the right of
Fresh Market.
the screen, and there's also the main entrance, which is way further left of the screen that you can't see here.
All right, but this is a portion of the parking lot that's where the cars are lined up there.
That's correct. Those
Okay.
are vehicles parked in the parking lot of the gym.
All right, let's publish. Okay, we're seeing a blue circle around a dark vehicle. Could you tell us what that indicates?
That is Mr. Markel's vehicle.
And this is him entering the gym at 9:11
That's correct.
a.m.?
He just came into the parking lot and is going around to the front side of the gym.
All right, now what are we looking at?
This is just a different angle, a little bit further back, and this is Mr. Markel immediately preceding the video we just saw, where he's coming into screen, coming into the front of the gym.
All right, and is he going to park somewhere?
Yes, he parks right behind that American flag.
All right, that was 9:12. What is this camera angle?
This is the same angle, it's just a little bit further to the left, and that is the front of the gym right there, where the green Prius just drove right in front of the front door of the gym.
Okay, so they entered the parking lot through different entrances.
That's correct. They entered over off of the west side of the parking lot.
All right, so we see the Prius here, and we know where Mr. Markel's parked there behind the flagpole. What is that?
Correct. He's still in the vehicle, just exited the vehicle there, I believe.
All right, so the blue circle indicates that's him getting out of his vehicle.
Correct.
And where's the Prius at this time?
The Prius continued on through the parking lot on the north side. And
Thanks so much for the super chats, Pinto. Very kind of you, Pinto. Thank you so much.
All right, now we're at 9:13 a.m. Is that Mr. Markel in the red?
yes, it is.
Markel's such a player, right? I think he's loving being divorced. He sees opportunities everywhere, right? He's going into the gym, and in both shots we get of him, he's checking out tail. He's checking out tail left, right, and center. Look at him. You just see his eyes dart to his left, which is the right side of the shot for us. And then at the end of the shot, you see it's a lady.
All right, now we're at 9:13 a.m. Is that Mr. Markel in the red?
Yes, it is.
He's even got the excited, horny walk. Look at him. I'm going to the gym. Love lycra.
All right, right, now we're at 9:13 a.m. Is that Mr. Markel in the red?
Yes, it is.
Look at him. Eyes on, motherfucker. We zoom in here. What have we got to work with? Uh-oh, not that one. We need to zoom in with Professor Markel's eye candy. So it's this girl on the left with the backpack and carrying a white piece of paper. But you know he's been checking out the pink vest as well, for sure. And why not?
Do we have any reason to believe?
Of course, what, an hour? About an hour and 45 minutes later, he says, "Can you hold on for a minute? There's someone in my driveway I don't recognize." And then we know what happens.
That any suspects entered the gym?
No, we do not.
How long? Was Professor Markel inside the gym?
I believe about an hour and a half. I believe it's about 10:38 when he leaves, somewhere around there.
All right, and what are we looking at here outside at 9:16 a.m.?
9:16.
What I said is that this is another camera they've put up. For what? Owl cam?
Green Prius is still driving through the parking lot, but it's coming back from where it had passed through. Coming back toward the gym. This is on the south side of the parking lot of the gym. And the green Prius just drove through there and is driving around the parking lot still. Again, the vehicle is turned around and is coming back toward the gym in the same parking lot.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing, do they?
Almost managed to get in a wreck there.
Just missed.
Did they almost manage to get in a wreck?
Again, the vehicle is turned around and is coming back toward the gym in the same parking lot.
Almost managed to get in a wreck there.
Just missed.
Neverly, darling, we've got no drop frames and a good signal, so it looks like there shouldn't be any glitchy.
Okay, what's happening here?
This is Mr. Markel exiting the lobby of the gym.
Here we go again. Here we go again. Eyes on, Markel.
Lobby.
Look. Player.
All right, now at 10:34, what do we see?
We see Mr. Markel walking away from the front doors of the into the parking lot toward his vehicle.
Yeah, Pinto, and the Greenbergs also said that he was the biggest coos hound in town. We are going to get some cross of Pat Sanford.
All right, so we saw Mr. Markel's vehicle leaving. Is that the Prius that was back there in that orange circle?
That's correct. They were in the far northwest part of the parking lot parked, and when he exited, they started to exit. And he exited on the Village Square Boulevard exit.
Okay. So we never saw anybody exit the Prius during the surveillance video.
No, we did
They
not.
stayed in the car the whole time.
That's correct.
Were you able to learn anything about the suspect vehicle from the surveillance images as far as the color?
We were able to determine the approximate year range of that type of vehicle based on the body style, going through the Toyota dealership and other experts. We're able to determine that it was a 2006 to 2009 Toyota Prius with a silver pine mica is the name of the paint, which is kind of a light green.
Were you able to learn anything?
I think this case really, made that color a household name, right? I mean, who had I heard of silver pine mica before? I don't think so. It's a Toyota only color, right? They invented it for the Prius. It's part of their palette range. But now it's known by thousands. And by so many people that don't even have a Toyota.
Or find any other surveillances to establish anything about the route the victim took to and from the gym?
Yes, we were.
What evidence was that?
We were able to obtain city bus video. All the city buses had video on the exterior and the interior of them. We went back along the route that he took, and we believe he took, and reviewed bus footage video of that and found footage of both vehicles.
All right, and just to try to get our timeline as narrow as we can, this gym video ends at 10:38 a.m. What time did the 911 call come in?
Came in, I believe, 11:02.
And have you had an opportunity to review the exhibit, State's Exhibit 84, with the video from the buses that's been put together similarly to how we did the gym surveillance?
Yes, I have.
And is it fair and accurate?
It is.
Judge, at this time I'd ask to introduce State's, let me check on the exhibit numbers, 84, correct? 84, which is the bus video clips.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 84 is admitted.
What are bus videos? Where are cameras mounted on city buses?
On the exterior and the interior of the buses, and it's for safety purposes and for review purposes for the city.
How were you able to know how to find this stuff?
We were able to find out which routes the bus took, but which buses took which route at which times. So we looked for that exact bus route along Thomasville Road during that time period.
Okay, so did you have to look through quite a bit of footage to get the little bits we're going to look at?
Yes, the team did.
Okay. All right, permission to publish States 84, Your Honor.
You may.
And the actual exhibit is in the form of a disc, Your Honor. All right, so where are we right here on the video?
This is right in front of the Circle K gas station, which is right on Thomasville Road at the Capitol Circle flyover. I believe it's Maclay Commerce Boulevard is the actual road that they're on.
All right, so if we're the bus, we're on Maclay Commerce.
That's correct. And the Circle K is to the right, and right in front of us is Thomasville Road with the divider where Capitol Circle flyover starts.
And what does the blue circle indicate?
That is the vehicle of Mr. Markel.
What time are we seeing him pass that area?
That is at 10:44.
Okay, so is that consistent with going back home from the gym?
That's correct.
Okay. And this is bus, we've got a couple different buses in play here, right? This one's 505?
Correct, 505.
Okay. Proceed, please. And what does the orange circle indicate?
That is the green Prius that was in the parking lot of Premier Gym.
All right, we're still on bus 505. What does this show?
So this is on Thomasville Road heading south, just south of the I-10. This is the entrance where the hospital is to the right. It's a red light.
And by hospital, you're talking about the new ER.
The new ER, exactly, right by I-10 and Thomasville Road.
Were you able to get the tag number from this image from the bus?
No, unfortunately we weren't. The resolution on these cameras are set really low because they're saved on DVRs, and they don't want them to roll over too fast, so they set the resolution extremely low, and we were not able to pull anything out of that.
Where is Professor Markel's vehicle at this point?
It is past the red.
Y'all want to see Lewis and Sigfredo's hotel? Hotel Motel? This is the place. You know what I did the other day that we might do for fun? Is do a ride-along on Street View of Lewis and Sigfredo's journey that day. I mean, it's kind of fitting that their motel sort of looks like, well, not a prison, but maybe a building that you would find in a prison. Yeah, so they would have stayed in a room just like this one. Kind of like the bedspread. Fucking psychedelic. They couldn't put that fucking clothes rail up a little higher. It's changed hands now, but this is the as it was back then, the roadway. It's now another, it's still a motel, but a different corporate body. Wow, look at that. Nice. Who put that mirror there? I mean, come on. I mean, what the fuck? So they'd have parked right out here. The roadway. They spelt road wrong. Ooh, flat screen. And they've put the clothes rail up a little higher. That's good. They walked right in there, right in there. Sigfredo Garcia probably sat in that chair. It's where they pick up their key. Or it was Shadrick Nobles that sorted it out, right? And there, that's straight from the storyboard. They walked out there on murder morning. God, what a fucking front fascia, welcoming vibe or what, huh? The windowless motel. Looks like a fucking corn silo. Wow, look at that. There's no place like home. Like, what is the point of that photograph? Wait until you see the food available in the place, guys. That's something special. That's something real special. Actually, I believe it's from a Chinese buffet just next door to the hotel, but there's a place, a little room where you can eat, common room. And some happy guest posted a picture of their meal that they got from the Chinese buffet and were eating in the in the common room. Where's the guy that came up with the sky blue wall? Did he get a promotion or what? The interior wizard. God, look at that, huh? Community coffee. Oh, the glamour of being away on a hit. Okay. They love their bedspreads. Real selection of TVs in this place. Juice machine. Hey, look, that's exactly the clock is set to the exact time that Professor Markel was shot. I wonder if it was taken on July 18th. Probably not. Photos 2017. So this is probably after a makeover. Ah, the wonderful mirror placement. Where's this fucking Chinese food? How many photos do they need of the same shitty stuff? The bathroom. Oh, here we go. God, look at that. And they've got a plastic fork just to complete the picture. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? The broccoli is burnt, for fuck's sake. What the hell is that? A crayfish? A fucking cockroach? I think we... Oh my God, what? Oh no, the stained mattress. These must be photos from angry guests. I think that's it. Okay, so that's the hotel, motel, no-tel.
Light has already made it through the red light. Still heading south on Thomasville Road.
And that's almost 10:48 a.m. Is that time correct at the bottom there?
Correct.
Okay, and now we're at 10:51 p.m. I'm sorry, a.m. Still bus 505. What will you pause it, please? What does the orange circle indicate here? Where are we, and what does the circle indicate?
We're still southbound on Thomasville Road. This intersection is Benton Road, which is where Winthrop Park is. Benton Road is where the cars are stopped at. In the left-hand turn lane on the far left side of the screen is the green Prius waiting to turn left on the Benton Road.
And is that a route to get to Professor Markel's residence on Trescott?
That's correct.
All right, and that's 10:51 a.m.?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't know the room number, no, Pinto. But it was probably 18.
Now have we gone to a different bus?
Yes, this is bus 707.
And what are we looking at on bus 707?
So this is northbound on Thomasville Road at Hermitage. This is at 10:55 a.m. and there's two lanes there. They're in the right-hand lane. The bus is in the right-hand lane, but the camera's on the outside of the bus looking backwards. So you'll see oncoming traffic coming behind the bus.
And what do we see here?
We see the green Prius pulling up next to the bus.
So this is 10:55. We last saw him at 10:51. Does that narrow our murder window down to that 4 minutes?
That's correct. This is north of where the victim was, and this is coming from the victim's house.
I think we've prepared a second clip, if you just let it play through, of that in slow motion. Tell us what we're supposed to be looking for in this clip.
So you can see inside the vehicle, even though it has tinted windows, you can see the driver's wearing dark clothes, but the passenger appears to have a long sleeve white shirt on, and he's very animated in the passenger seat. You can also see some distinctive features of the car.
Okay, I think we've got those highlighted here in a moment. What are these distinctive features? Will you pause it there, please?
So the first one in the lower right-hand corner is what's called a tow hook cover. Vehicles in the bumper have some vehicles have a little plate in there that you can remove, and it has a metal hook inside of it, so a tow truck can hook to that metal hook and pull the car if it needs to. This particular vehicle is missing its tow hook cover. You can see there's a hole in the front bumper, so it's been removed and not been replaced. Also on the front windshield is a sun pass. It was affixed to the windshield. And then on the far left side of the screen is the black rear view mirror of the vehicle. Toyota Priuses made in those years had matching mirrors. The mirrors were painted with the car, the same color of the car. And you can see in the video that the driver's side mirror was still painted, but the passenger side mirror was black, indicating it had been damaged and been replaced by an aftermarket mirror.
Okay. And what is a sun pass transponder?
Sun pass transponders are used primarily in South Florida, especially back then. We didn't really have any sun pass toll booths up here, but they're used to pay for tolls going on toll roads, where you don't have to stop and pay cash on the toll booth. You can pay for it. I'm sorry, I
interrupted you. Go ahead.
You can pay for it in advance, assign it to your car, create an account, and affix it to your vehicle, so you don't have to stop going through toll booths.
When you observed that it appeared there was a sun pass transponder on this vehicle back at this time, when did you obtain this video, do you know?
This was back in 2014.
Okay. Did it signify to you this vehicle may have come from South Florida?
That's correct.
What efforts were made to follow up on the sun pass?
So we ended up working with an investigator with Florida Department of Transportation, who maintains Florida Sun Pass, so gave them subpoenas, and we ended up thinking the best route for somebody to go through South Florida, the Sun Pass, would be through Orlando. We obtained video in Orlando to try to see if that green Prius passed through any of the toll booths there. We also obtained a list of all green Priuses in that year range that had a registered sun pass to it.
How many of those were there?
Thousands.
All right, let's let this exhibit finish. And one more view here. Can you explain what this is?
This is the same bus as the light turned green at Hermitage going north on Thomasville, and this is the green Prius passing the bus.
So as far as pulling the needle out of the haystack, finding this one Prius, it didn't work as from the sun pass alone.
No, not from the sun pass alone.
All right, was any work done to try to zero in on some cell phone analysis around the locations where we know the suspect Prius was that day?
Yes, there was.
Okay, and was Sergeant Corbett the person responsible for working on the cell phone analysis?
He was.
Including looking for any phones of interest traveling in those areas that might have been following Dan Markel?
That's correct.
All right, and based on the analysis that we're going to hear from Sergeant Corbett, did you develop an idea of the route that the suspects may have taken?
We did.
I know you said you had already tried the SunPass booths in Orlando, which is one potential route to South Florida.
That's correct.
Okay. What did the phone evidence lead you to look at instead of that route?
We were able to obtain those phone records that showed the vehicle traveled down 75 and did not go through Orlando. Took I-10 to 75 all the way down, actually on the way up also, but on the way down 75 through Tampa, through Naples, then across Alligator Alley on 75 to Miami.
China. All right, so sort of not the expected route.
Correct. It's a longer route than going through the turnpike down through Orlando.
Okay, and you already suspected the vehicle was headed south, I guess, based on just the existence of the SunPass transponder.
Correct.
Okay, and that's sort of corroborated by these phone records.
Correct.
All right. So now that you learned that the vehicle traveled this other route through Alligator Alley, did you find any place where the SunPass transponder went through? I guess there are some toll booths that you have to go through if you go that route as well, right?
That's correct. There was only two.
Where are those located?
They're basically on Alligator Alley. There's one going westbound on the east side in Broward County. When you leave Miami going across Alligator Alley, there's one there going if you're traveling westbound. And then on the way back, there was one going eastbound just outside of Naples.
And were you able to find a Prius going through those SunPasses that might have been our Prius?
Yes, we were.
How were you able to do that? What did you ask for?
We asked for particular times. We knew what times they went through the toll booth. So we asked for any green Priuses around those times that had activated the SunPass.
And how many green Priuses traveled through the SunPass booths, both going and coming in the same time windows you were looking for?
Just one.
All right, and from that, were you able to identify the particular SunPass transponder that we were looking for that was affixed to the suspect vehicle?
We were.
How'd you do that?
We went to Florida Department of Transportation and asked for that particular details of that transponder. They gave us a subscriber for that particular one.
And who was the subscriber?
It was a company called Hybrid Auto Rental, also called Save Gas, and it's out of down on Biscayne Boulevard in North Miami.
All right. Did you go there?
I did.
All right. What did you learn about the suspect vehicle from Save Gas?
By the time we got there, he'd already sold the vehicle. It was over a year later, but it was rented by Luis Rivera. He provided us with the basically receipt, the contract where it was rented during that time period.
So from the paperwork that you got from Save Gas, you learned you got a rental contract that showed who rented the vehicle?
That's correct.
Okay, and also any information about the vehicle itself, like a VIN or a tag number?
Yes, correct. It gave all the information on the vehicle, too.
What is this place, Save Gas, like? Is that like a enterprise or something else?
No, it's a small, locally owned, individually owned car rental place that kind of repairs his own vehicles, buys and sells vehicles and rents them out.
All right, Judge, at this time I'd ask to introduce the rental agreement, states 58.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 58 is admitted.
So if you can kind of walk us through, figure out how to zoom on that.
Yes, at the top left, it's the renter information is Luis Rivera. It has his address that matches his driver's license address, and then it has a telephone number down below that.
This phone number here.
Correct.
Okay, and was this information up here also of interest to law enforcement?
It was. That number that has brother next to it, that was one of the numbers that numbers of interest that gave us the pattern going down to South Florida.
And was this number associated with a person eventually?
It was.
Who's that person?
Sigfredo Garcia.
And then we've got some other information on here about when the vehicle was rented. Were you able to deduce from this when the vehicle was due back?
Yes, it was supposed to be back. I believe that's toward the bottom, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll bring it up there so you're
Okay.
People who are driving.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the date it was rented was 7/15 at 6:15 p.m. and it was due back on 7/17.
So July 15th of 2014?
Correct. 2014.
That's when it was rented.
Correct.
And it was supposed to be back July 17th?
Correct. That was the
And
date.
did it
due
get
back.
returned on time?
No, it did not.
All right, is there anything on that document in reference to
Yeah, they were late returning the vehicle. I mean, why would you rent a vehicle to do a murder, you know? Something that you can't control. Something, I mean, the best thing would be probably to hopscotch car thefts. You know, steal a car in Miami, drive it to Tampa, ditch it, steal a car in Tampa, drive it to Gainesville, ditch it, steal a car in Gainesville, drive it to Tallahassee, do the murder, set it on fire, and then, you know, steal another car. I mean, I believe that was Sigfredo's deal for a while, was stealing cars, or at least breaking into cars to steal stuff, right? I mean, you know, if you know your way around doing that.
to the extension of time?
Yes, down at the bottom it also shows that from 7/18 through 7/20 it says I believe 965 paid cash, and then 7/20 to 7/21 so it shows a $55 balance and some other numbers where they ended up having to pay it, and some other notes about paying cash out of the deposit.
So it looks like they didn't return it until July 21st.
That's correct.
All right, and you said that the phone number listed on top there with the word brother turned out to be Sigfredo Garcia's phone number. How do we know that's his phone number?
It was listed one time on.
Yeah, no. How do we know that's his phone number? He put it on the fucking rental agreement next to his full name and address. Oh, these guys. Yeah, and Katie dropped him off and took her cell phone with her. It could not be worse. Could it be worse? It's pretty unbelievable, isn't it? How amateur this is for. Because everybody involved thought they was shit hot, right? A Latin king, the boss of the Latin kings. Sigfredo Garcia, street criminal, career criminal, gang banger. Charlie, puppeteer, maestro, pulling the strings. Katie, ghetto girl, don't talk shit to me. I'm gonna fucking fuck up whoever the fuck is fucking with me. Fucking A, bro.
On a Facebook page that was associated with him, and also listed on a pawn receipt where he'd pawned some, I believe it was some jewelry, and used his fingerprint on that. Had to place his fingerprint on the pawn receipt when he did it, and listed that phone number as his.
Okay, I want to publish what's been introduced as states. Have we introduced them? I'm going to show you states 59 first and ask you if you recognize.
Hey, maybe we should play our. I gotta make something for this. You know, Derek went to all that trouble to build us a theme tune. Where's our? How do we play that? We're gonna do our very first. Fuck. Right. Give me a second. Media source. And then. I think it's this one.
Fucking A, bro. I'm gonna fucking fuck up where the fuck you fucking with me.
Thank you, Neverly darling. Monitor and output. Okay.
That's what not my brother Tasso told me. He told me everything when we were in jail. He told me everything and who was involved. I know everything.
Well, I don't. That's the problem. I am telling you, it's not me. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me.
Thank you, Derek, for making that fantastic 12-inch dance mix. For sure. Okay. That's our plug, guys. buymeacoffee.com/True Crime Metrix, or help us out with our goal at the top of the chat, guys. Great ways to support the channel.
States 59.
I do.
How do you recognize it?
I recognize it as an exhibit that lists the subjects in this investigation.
And is the information contained on the exhibit fair and accurate?
Yes.
Judge had asked to introduce States 59.
Any objection?
No objection.
States 59 is admitted.
right, so you were saying there was a Facebook post or a Facebook account linked to this phone number with a photograph of Sigfredo Garcia as the owner of the account?
Correct. It was labeled Tudo Day, but it was a picture of Sigfredo Garcia.
And throughout the course of your investigation, have you come to know Tudo Day or Tudo as a nickname for Sigfredo Garcia?
That's correct.
And does anybody else on this State's Exhibit 59 have a nickname?
Yes.
Who is that?
Luis Rivera is also known as Tato.
Okay. And were you able to subpoena phone records for all the people shown on this State's Exhibit 59?
We were.
All right, and establish phone numbers for the phone numbers they were all using at the time of the homicide?
That's correct.
Did you conduct any investigation into Catherine Magbanua and her employment status around the time of this homicide?
We did.
All right, what did you learn about her employment status?
At the time of the homicide, she was shortly after the homicide, I believe it was about 2 months after the homicide, she became employed with the Adelson Institute.
Okay, but at the actual time of the homicide, anything other than maybe odd jobs?
Right, just odd jobs and maybe some bartending work.
All right, what is the Adelson?
Fucking liquor promotions. She put a fucking Smirnoff boob tube on and stand outside a club. Oh, sorry, Absolute. Woo.
An institute.
It's a family-owned dentist practice in South Florida.
All right, and did you go to the Adelson Institute?
I did.
Did you attempt to subpoena employment records for Catherine Magbanua at that business?
Yes, I did.
All right, tell us about that.
Wasn't that one of the best Charlie Adelson wiretaps? He's like on the phone. Okay, Erica. I would not say anything. I mean, you can say what you want. I'm not telling you what to say, but I would not say anything. It's not my office. It's my dad's office. So I don't know where anything is. Employment records, I wouldn't know where that is. So they're talking to the wrong Dr. Adelson. It's not me, Dr. Adelson. It's Dad, Dr. Adelson. Dad, Doctor. Dad, Dr. Adelson has the records. So I would not say anything. But you can say whatever you want, but I would not say anything. Don't say anything, okay?
Myself and investigator Isom approached the business with a subpoena. Went in, spoke with the lady at the front desk, told her we had a subpoena for records for Catherine Magbanua. Made some inquiries about her employment there, and they continued to bring somebody else up and talk to us about it, and then went back in the back and made a phone call.
All right, so when you went in there, Catherine Magbanua was not physically present there?
She was not.
Okay. Was she still receiving checks at the time that you went in there?
Yes, I believe she was.
Okay. And did the employees in there seem to know what she did there?
No, not at all.
All right. Were you eventually provided with some documentation from that business?
Later on, yes.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as State 60.
Yes.
Do you recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What is State 60?
It's a list of checks that were issued to Catherine Magbanua.
And is this exhibit the complete information that you were provided by the Adelson Institute in response to your subpoena for the entire employee file of Catherine Magbanua?
Yes, this is it. This is all they provided.
All right. And you mentioned a list of checks. Was there anything in here that... Why are we getting that feedback? IT, if you're listening, we need feedback support. Any indication of what her job was there?
No.
Any indication of like her schedule?
No.
Timesheets?
Nothing.
An employment application?
Nope.
W-2?
Nope.
Any tax forms?
No.
Performance evaluations or anything like that?
Nothing.
And over what period was she being paid according to the records that were provided to you?
I believe it started in September of 14 and went through early 2016, maybe.
March 31st of...
So murder happens in July, towards the end of July. Then we've got August. Then September, which is when the checks start. Yeah, we didn't want to do it straight away or the next month. But then, you know, it's been a month, so we'll just handwrite all of the signed checks through the company that is called our name. That's not a paper trail. That doesn't prove anything, okay? That doesn't prove a thing. We'll just say she's working there. They'll never need us to prove that. She came in, she cleaned up. What?
16?
That's correct.
And so those payments began about 2 months after the homicide?
Correct.
And did you notice in the records that were provided that some of the check numbers were consecutive, meaning consecutive numbers?
Yes, we did.
Did you ever get any evidence that Ms. McBanwell was physically going to the Adelson Institute to perform any kind of duties there?
No, we never obtained any evidence to show that at all.
All right, and there was some surveillance at some time being performed of her person, right?
That's correct.
Can you tell us about that? What time frame was she being monitored?
We started monitoring her in late 2015, probably November. Basically had electronic surveillance on her residence. Plus we also were monitoring her phone, location services on her phone historically and prospectively too.
And how long was that the case? How long was she being monitored? What period of time?
Electronic video surveillance was from November of 15 until she no longer lived at that apartment.
All right, and through any of those means that you described, were you able to deduce what it was she was doing for the Adelson Institute in person or remotely?
No, not at all.
All right, and we heard in opening that there was a wiretap in this case. Anything on the wiretap that indicated what she was doing for that business?
There was a couple of references about cleaning up on the weekends. That was about it, though.
Okay, and again, we would have known if she'd gone there to clean up on the weekends, right? At least during the time frame she described.
That's correct.
And that didn't happen.
It did not.
Okay. 1 moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Kappelman, if you can move the left turn slightly over to the left, and it's not cutting out any wires, is it?
Don't think so.
I'm going to move it anyway. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm going to move it way forward.
Try not to jockey with the microphones, because that might be causing some of the feedback.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Special Agent. Let's actually start where we left off, the checks.
Okay.
Okay. The checks began 2 months after the date that Professor Markel was murdered, give or take.
That's what the date on the checks were for that employment, correct?
And the checks were in batches, right? Often.
They seem to be. The sequence of the check numbers were in batches, correct?
So just so everyone understands what that means, you would see a check for check number 1, 2, 3, and 4, for instance. And you would see those checks, even though they were the next checks in the book, they'd be for payments every 2 weeks, essentially.
Correct. What I observed was a few checks in sequence, and at the bottom it would give date ranges of when they were for, and they would be for 2 week segments, and then the very next check was for another 2 week segment later on, and then there was other checks in the system that were dated out of range of those.
So it looked like Miss Magbanawa was given a stack of checks at a time, for instance. Fair assumption?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. Those checks, when you added them up, they were about $1,000 a month, right?
Right. Now remember that this whole checks thing is going for painting, extortion. You need to pay $350,000. You could only give us 138,000. So you're going to give us $3,000 a month. But that does not go to paying off the principal. That's just vig.
I believe so. Yeah, it was like $460 a month or something like that. Or every 2 weeks, I mean.
$460 every 2 weeks.
Correct.
Which, I'm not great at math. $920, and there's taxes, a little bit of taxes taken out, right?
Sure. Correct.
So about $1,000 a month.
Correct.
Now, I think you testified that the state's theory of why this murder occurred was partially a murder because of the desire of Miss Adelson to relocate. I think that's what you testified on direct. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
You're aware that the relocation motion was denied in June of 2013, right?
Correct.
And that's more than a full year before the murder, right?
The relocation was in June of 13? Yes.
The murder was in middle July of 2014.
Right. Correct.
As part of your investigation, did you learn that no one really thought the relocation motion was going to be successful?
I don't know about no one, but there was some indication they thought it might not be successful, correct.
Did you try to speak to Miss Adelson's lawyer?
I did not know. Tallahassee Police Department did at one point.
And did they learn that the motion was, as she says in an email, a moonshot?
I don't know that.
Now, you discussed in your direct examination, you talked about some of these emails. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Actually, before we get there. No, actually, we'll stay there. Those emails you...
Before we get there... No, actually, we'll stay there. Just... What does that even mean? Before we get there... No, actually, we'll stay there. I mean, how can you stay there if you haven't got there yet? Before we get there, actually, we'll stay here would make more sense. Before we get there, no, actually, we'll stay there.
Reviewed them?
I reviewed.
What is it with these people? Fucking Isom just has, he has his own theme of misinterpreting something or, fucking up a number or a date or a spelling or something. It's like his own brand. He does it with such consistency. And Rashbaum as well. What the fuck? The puzzles don't fit. The pieces of the puzzle don't fit. It's just strange.
Some of them, not all of them. The team did.
Okay. Out of the ones that you reviewed, anything in those emails about murder?
About murder? No.
Anything in those emails about violence?
Not that I saw, no.
Anything in those emails about any type of illegal activity at all?
Not that I recall. I mean, the bribe itself wouldn't be illegal, I don't think.
In fact, with regard to the $1 million email, I think is the one that you're referring to, did you see emails where they were consulting lawyers about whether that $1 million offer was legal?
I did.
So fair to say, as crazy as the emails were, we agree they're crazy, right?
Yes.
There was at least some sanity to make sure what they were doing was legal, right?
One portion of it, yes.
Now, those emails, did you see any emails where any of these ideas were coming from Charlie Adelson?
I saw some emails where they were discussed with him, apparently.
But any time where he was actually coming up with the ideas as opposed to being copied on the email where he says, okay, sounds good.
I think there was some reference of her saying she discussed it with him, but I did not see any emails from him. No.
Meaning Donna discussing it with
Correct.
his mother.
Correct.
The $1 million email, I think we'll talk about this later in more detail when you're back. But let's just tie it up here a little bit. You've listened to Mr. Adelson on the phone a lot, right?
I did.
Is it fair to say he's a big talker?
That's fair.
Oh my God, what is this thing he does? You know? It's like it's his only defense. Charlie talks a lot, right? You heard him on the wires, right? He talks all day. What the fuck? He says it to every single witness. And then when he gets Charlie on the stand, what is the question? You can tell it's part of his preparation. He's like, well, for one, I talked a lot. I didn't know how much I talk until I listened to myself talk. And then I was listening and I was talking and I heard my talking. Fuck. What are they clinging on to with that? It's hard for me to understand.
Is it fair to say he repeats himself a lot?
That is very fair.
Through your investigation, are you aware that this $1 million idea?
Hey, Lobel V, how you doing? Lobel V says, I've always wondered if the Adelsons did offer the money to move pre-divorce finalization. I've always wondered if the Adelsons did offer the money to move pre-divorce. Oh, I see. I've always wanted to move pre-divorce finalization. No, it was after. We have the emails. I mean, the divorce finalization was what was it? It was either June 30th or July 30th, 2013, and the emails where it's being discussed are way later, like February 2014 maybe. We could pull them up, but we just went through a bunch of them the other day.
Where Mr. Adelson was going to lend $1/3 that he talked to a lot of people about that idea. Are you aware of that through your investigation?
I am not aware of that.
Now, back to the divorce. Are you aware that the divorce between Professor Markel and Miss Adelson was finalized in July?
I may have that wrong, actually. I'm just going over the emails now. I'll be back with the details.
Of 2013?
That's my understanding, yes, correct.
Again, that's about a year before the murder, correct?
Correct.
And after Miss Adelson's relocation motion was denied, are you aware that she was determined to make a life for herself in Tallahassee?
I don't know if I can speak to that.
Well, let me see if I can help you. You went through Miss Adelson's emails as well in your investigation?
I did not. The team did.
Did anyone from the team talk to you about those emails?
Some of them.
All right, well, let's see if you're aware of some of these. Are you aware that she was looking to buy property in Tallahassee?
No, it was not.
You didn't see any emails to that effect?
I did not personally, no.
Are you aware that she was looking to enroll her kids in schools, a new school in Tallahassee, for the fall of 2014? In other words, after the time when Mr. Markel was murdered.
I know there was discussions about that with Mr. Markel. I am aware of that.
Are you aware that she was scheduling plans with friends in Tallahassee for August of 2014 and for the fall of 13, all of which would have occurred after the murder? Are you aware of that?
No.
You didn't see those in any emails that you reviewed?
I did not see those, no.
Are you aware that she was scheduling business meetings for late July 2014? See emails on them?
I did not see that, no.
Are you aware that she purchased plane tickets leaving for Tallahassee to go to a wedding out of state? Those plane tickets were purchased in June, but they were purchased for an October wedding. She bought plane tickets to leave from Tallahassee. Are you aware of that?
No.
Are you aware that her family, including Mr. Adelson, was planning to come up to Tallahassee in August 2014 when Miss Adelson was going to be honored at FSU?
No.
You didn't see any emails on that either, did you?
I didn't.
But you're aware that the state subpoenaed Miss Adelson's emails, right?
I am.
Now, you also mentioned this, I like to call it the grandmother motion. Can we call it that?
Sure.
In March of 2014, there's these, it actually starts earlier. It starts, can I have that big binder?
It was February.
Yeah.
The clerk has it.
All right, well, I'm not, it's okay. Somewhere in that big binder, there's a bunch of litigation back and forth with Miss Adelson and Professor Markel regarding money.
Yes.
And at some point in the course of a motion that Wendy Adelson filed, Professor Markel files a motion back, and that's when he seeks to have only supervised visits of the kids with Donna Adelson. That's the motion you were talking about with Ms. Kappelman, correct?
Correct.
And that occurs in early 2014, right?
It does.
Now, the motion doesn't get heard because...
Okay, there's an email from June 27th, 2013 that contains the part about the financial offer. The email from Donna to Wendy. It says... Where is it? Okay, Wendy, you don't manipulate people. You're a sweet, kind, caring person. Jibbers is a manipulator. You just need to play a role. What you're doing is jockeying for position. In the end, if you do this and it doesn't get the results we're hoping for, blah, 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 blah. I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering. We're planning on you, Charlie, and Dad and I going as high as equal parts in a $1 million offer. That's $330K from each of us. Obviously, the more chits on our side, the better our chances are that we won't have to go that high. You have to show us that you're doing your part in this too. We're a team. we can't do this without your help. One of the possibilities, in lieu of that much money, obviously we start much lower, is offering not just taking them out of church, but negotiating a settlement which could possibly offer both boys private. Imagine sitting down to that fucking meeting, right? This negotiation. You want the boys out of Catholic church? We're only going to give you $500,000. Crazy. Anyway, there's a clear written declaration of an offer being discussed here on June 27th, which I guess that's about a month before the final mediation. Actually, it's June 26. Oh no. Donna Harvey sent it to themselves on June 26, and then they forwarded it to Wendy on June 27.
Miss Adelson's lawyer has to recuse herself, right?
I believe so.
And she has to recuse herself because Professor Markel makes allegations against that lawyer as well.
I'm not aware of that, but okay.
And so that's part of the reason of the delay of why the motion's not heard. Are you aware of that?
I am, correct.
Are you aware that in the course of this litigation, in that binder, I don't want to find the page, I won't be able to, that the court chastised, was critical of Professor Markel on this motion?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware that the court highlighted that the motion probably wouldn't be granted?
No, I did not. I did not see that.
The jury will have it. Are you aware that on July 11th, 2014, this is months after that motion. Well, let me back up. When you studied this case...
Let me back up. Let me back up from what? Get the shit out of your mouth, Rashbaum. I mean, you didn't even ask a question and you're backing up? Let's just see that again. Look at him. He can't even posture convincingly. There are no questions for him to be bringing up here. And the way he acts like he's got something substantial to build on is so funny. Because we can just see him pretending, right? It's the strangest thing.
Are you aware that on July 11th, 2014, this is months after that motion. Well, let me back up. When you studied this case, is it fair to say that with all the litigation, there were good periods of times after the divorce between Professor Markel and Miss Adelson as well, right?
Can you believe how bad that was? That was just confusing. I've just listened to it a second time, and I know the fucking case well, a lot better than the jury that are just listening to all this for the first time. And I don't know what his question is talking about.
Months after that motion. Well, let me back up.
And just the basic form of it. That was months after the motion. What fucking motion, man?
Are you aware that on July 11th, 2014, this is months after that motion. Well, let me back up. When you studied this case, is it fair to say that with all the litigation, there were good periods of times after the divorce between Professor Markel and Miss Adelson as well?
When were those times? July 11th?
Well, right?
I can't speak to that. My partner did most of that research, so I was not very familiar with it.
Fair enough. Well, are you aware that on July 11th, 2014, so this is several months after the grandmother motion.
Is he going to talk about fucking banana bread now?
That Professor Markel asked Donna and Harvey Adelson to watch the kids for him?
I am not aware of that.
Are you aware that he had a function to go to and Miss Adelson had another function to go to, and he didn't have childcare for them, and he asked them to watch the kids for him?
No.
7 days before the murder?
Not aware of it.
Couple more. Ms. Kappelman on direct asked you about a life insurance policy. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You can just imagine the, Wendy's lawyer, kind of the brainstorming session behind this banana bread theory, right? We need a wholesome act. Something to show that there's no bad blood. Now, what could it be? Maybe we could say that Professor Markel asked Donna to babysit, and that Donna, to show there was no bad blood, brought him a loaf of banana bread. You know, how many baked goods did they go through? They probably thought, well, she could bring him an apple pie or a fruits of the forest tart. No, something more grandmother. Maybe something that she made with the children when they were in her care. Banana bread. What 3-year-old doesn't love to make banana bread with grandma? Perfect. Sold. We'll have it so that Donna brought Professor Markel banana bread that she made with the grandchildren to show there was no bad blood. Perfect. You can see the brainstorm session. That's exactly how it fucking happened.
And she asked you, she made it seem like, well, let me be clear. Was it your position that Wendy Adelson gained $2 million from that life insurance policy?
I believe there is I believe that Mr. Markel's sister has custody of that and is supposed to distribute to, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I believe distribute to the children as needed.
So let me be clear so the jury's not confused.
Let me be clear so the jury's not confused. You're the one confusing the jury, you dick. You're such a dick. What doesn't he just do that thing again where he goes, okay, are you aware that on July 11th... No, let me back up. Months ago, there was a motion. You're all over the place.
Are you aware that Professor Markel had a life insurance policy in March of 2012?
I'm not sure of the dates, but I knew he had one.
And that originally Wendy Adelson was the beneficiary of that policy?
That sounds right.
But in October of 2012, 2 years before his murder, he signed the policy over, making his sister the beneficiary and the custodian for his boys. Are you aware of that?
I wasn't sure of the date, but yes, I'm aware of that.
So Wendy Adelson isn't permitted to get any money from that policy without Professor Markel's sister, correct?
Yes, without her sister, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear.
More Wendy defense from Daniel Rashbaum. Yeah. I swear he spends more time in this trial defending Wendy. And probably because those are where his efforts are better spent. You know, the only reason that Donna and Charlie, that we can say for sure, had this self-deluded concept that the trial was going well and that he had a shot at it is because they just forced themselves to believe that. There's no way that Daniel Rashbaum or Josh Dubin believed he had a shot anything beyond total fucking fluke, you know, 1 in 1,000, 10,000. Well, maybe we'll get a fucking member of the jury who just says not guilty for some, you know, renegade reason, you know. Which does happen. I mean, it's always, I guess it's on a life sentence, you obviously go to trial because you never know. But that's like winning the lottery, you know? Beyond that, there was really no hope. There was no hope. Maybe it's not quite as astronomical as lottery odds, but, you know, it's pretty beyond reasonable reach, I'd say. So yeah, why would he spend time up here defending the indefensible? Why not use this stage to extend the defense to Wendy, at least in the media, or attempt to in the media and the court of public opinion? I mean, that seems to be a large part of his game plan here.
Special Agent, you've been a FBI agent for almost 25 years.
Correct.
Mostly in Miami, right?
No, in here in Tallahassee.
In Tallahassee, okay. Apologies. You've investigated, fair to say, maybe more than a dozen murders?
Fair to say.
How many murders for hire have you done?
Recently?
In your life?
Over my lifetime, probably half a dozen, but in the past 2 years, 2.
So, putting this case aside, which I know you believe is a murder for hire, putting this case aside, in those cases that you've done that were murder for hires, did the hitman get paid over time?
Paid over time? Not in those cases.
Never, right? In your experience?
Not in those particular cases, no.
Because hitmen, they usually don't like to be connected to the people they're doing a hit for, right?
It's case-by-case basis.
But in your experience, hitmen get paid before and after. 2 payments or 1 payment.
It depends on circumstances.
How about in the ones you've done?
Depends on circumstances. Sometimes after, sometimes before, sometimes both.
But in your cases, that's it. It's either before or 1 payment after, right?
The ones I've investigated have been we made arrests on them, so they didn't continue on.
Okay. You made arrests immediately on him?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever done an extortion case?
Yes, it's been years ago.
You've seen a lot of extortion cases, I'm sure, at the Bureau?
Sure.
How do people get paid in extortion cases?
Different ways.
Mostly they get paid over time, right?
They can, if the extortion continues, yes.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Take your time.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Redirect examination.
In reference to the money that is set aside for the boys, how does the money get to the little kids from the sister?
Through Wendy Adelson has to make those requests and then provides it to them.
All right, so per Donna Adelson, in reference to those emails you were asked about, what was the number one objective for Wendy?
Relocation to South Florida to be close to family.
And going through the courts, that failed, right?
Correct, it did.
So whether it was a moonshot or not, it didn't work.
That's correct.
And as far as making sure the bribe to Dan Markel was going to be legal, what would Dan Markel have done if they had done something illegal?
He would have held it against them, I'm
Would
sure.
have nailed their butts with it, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Can't do that now, can he?
No.
Did any of those plans that were going to take place in Tallahassee after the murder happen?
No, they did not.
Did Wendy buy a house in Tallahassee?
No, she didn't.
Did Wendy fly out of Tallahassee to go to a wedding?
No.
Did the boys go to school that fall here in Tallahassee?
No, they didn't.
Where did they go to school?
In South Florida, right across the street from where Grandma lived.
And why didn't those plans happen in Tallahassee?
Because Mr. Markel was murdered.
Did the grandma motion you were asked about, they said, well, it probably wasn't going to get granted. Well, it didn't get granted or denied, did it?
Never was heard.
Why not?
Because he was murdered.
No further questions.
If it's Sanford, you may step down for now. Members of the jury, we're going to take a brief break before we hear from the next witness. The bailiff will escort you to the jury room.
Please leave your notepads face down on your chairs.
Looks like we got a long witness coming up next. Wendy Adelson. I think I've heard of her. Yeah. Look at Judge Everett there. He's got such a boyish charm sometimes, right? He looks like he's just got in trouble in school. Would it be bad taste to go to a balloon fiesta and have a hot air balloon made that looked exactly like the judge? I can see it now. 50-foot high Judge Everett just slowly moving over the rolling hills of northern Florida. Little basket beneath, pack a lunch, pack a red velvet cake, share it from way up high. That'd be fantastic.
Is Mr. Lara present?
Mr. Lara.
I'll go shout out in the hallway. Mr. Laura.
Yeah. He's trying to reach into the vending machine and grab that fucking Mountain Dew that got stuck. Mr. Laro, Judge Everett wants you.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, very briefly, we filed a motion to put on the record that Ms. Adelson is here pursuant to the subpoena. Yes, when I get through. Refers use and derivative use immunity on her, that but for that subpoena, she would be asserting her Fifth Amendment rights, and we believe it was necessary just to make sure the record is clear on that.
Very well. I discussed this with the parties yesterday. I believe neither the state or the defense, you had no position concerning this. Is this correct?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You have no position concerning the
I do
non-party
not.
motion?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lara, in considering this motion, I will allow you to make your statement. I believe the state has confirmed that the testimony will occur pursuant to a grant of immunity.
I know, right, Pinto? Just imagine 50-foot high Judge Everett soaring above the Tallahassee skyline. You know what I mean? It's that slow moving, like the slow moving wheels of justice in this case. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it. And the black robe, obviously. Thank you, Christina Daly, for the super chat. But yeah, I don't think we're reaching the goal tonight, but we got to go. I'm not going to start Wendy now. I'm not going to start Wendy now, but let's just see what John Lauro has to say.
They cannot pull the rug out from under your client's feet, but I will allow you to make your statement.
And in light of that, there's nothing further I need to do since I put it on the record, if Your Honor will accept it.
Very well.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have anything else to address concerning Ms. Adelson before we resume with the testimony?
No, sir. I just wanted to have a recess to see if we can do anything about the feedback that's happening in the courtroom.
That's a good idea. We'll take about a 10-minute break and resume at 3:10.
Judge?
Yes, sir.
Can we invoke the rule at this point in time?
That's fine.
Thank you.
The rule of sequestration is going to be invoked, I believe, except for investigator Newland. Anyone else who will testify in this matter needs to step out of the courtroom. Do not discuss your testimony with anyone else until you're called. Hey, Mike.
The Great Seal. The Great Walrus. Is that it until Wendy's called? Right, there she is. That crazy bitch. Look at her.
Thank you. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Is that Phil Markel right behind her? Man, God, if that were me. Just give me one of those, what do you call it? A cheese string. What is it called? A garrote? Like what was used on, what's her name? Benet Ramsey. What was her name? Charlotte? What was that girl's name? Charlotte Benet Ramsey? It is Phil Markel behind her. Fucking hell. Imagine that. God, you know, fucking hell. I mean, he can smell her. He can smell her. That if that were me, I would not. I would have to leave before doing something rash. Jean Bonnet, yeah. What did I say? Charlotte. Jean Bonnet Ramsey, yeah. You can really see her getting into the zone, right? Showtime. Unbelievable. I mean, look at this. Look at this thing here that we're seeing. We've got Wendy Adelson psyching herself up, right? About to go on the stand and do your whole bullshit act. And right behind you is the father of the man that you did this to. And he is under no illusion about your involvement. This would be a great painting. What a dynamic.
Everyone can be seated. Mike, are we good on the mic?
Even the way she stands up real quick. She's really, really like pumped up, ready to go, right? Prepped, focused, confident. Strangely confident. I don't think many people would be confident. It's a game face.
Court is back in session.
Everyone can be seated. Mike, are we good on the microphones? Okay.
I really, I'm sure that she's had, extraordinarily what is the word? Extraordinarily in-depth preparation. Way beyond legal standards, acting coaching, psychological tricks, hypnosis, states of suggestion, experimental tactics. That's what it feels like. Almost witchcraft, right? Experimental tactics, stuff that, beyond the normal realm of of witness prep. Dark arts. Dark arts.
All right.
I don't think fucking Donna prepped her at all. No, I don't think Donna's involved, man. Donna's a mess. And Wendy stepped over her. You know. Fuck, no, she's got a team. You know, John LaRoe and the sorts of people that he can put in front of Wendy, they've prepped her. I don't think Donna's prepped her for shit. Donna's all over the place. Well, I believe Wendy's already cut the rope, cut ties, set sail. What did you take down, Pinto? I didn't see. All right, she's going to be cold any minute now. We're going to wrap it up here. Wrapping it up. And then we know what we're doing tomorrow. Wendy on the stand. I think that's going to last the whole damn stream. And I believe right after her is Jeff Lacasse. Couple of long witnesses. But I am looking forward to getting to Charlie. It never gets old. What's the problem, Pinto? God, what are they doing?
Everyone can be seated. State, please call your next witness.
State calls Wendy Adelson.
Oh, Georgia's gonna have some fun with her, isn't she?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? You may be seated.
Ma'am, please say and spell your name.
Wendy Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Where are you from?
And that's where we're leaving it. Wendy Adelson, Wendiadelson. Where are you from, Miss Adelson? I'm from Broward County. I was with Taco up in Broward. My brother Taco is incarcerated and he's going through some tough times. We want you to know that we know Taco helped you with your family problem up north, and You gotta take care of Taco, man. Take care of Taco like you've been taking care of Katie and Tudo. Do the right thing, man. This ain't going away. I don't know who Taco is! We got a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow, but we'll be back. We'll be back with Wendy on the stand. Should be a good run, huh? All right, see all you crazy kids tomorrow. Many thanks to the chatters, the super chatters, the super sticker givers, the super coffee go-getters, and the bulletproof Metrix moderators. Thanks a lot, guys. The sun is up. Almost. Hey, Danielle Savoy, you're so late, but we love you. All right, guys. Many thanks. True Crime Metrix out.